Welcome back. Well, today I am joined by Doug Phillips, who is a patient of RadNet, and he had the Tulsa procedure. Well, welcome, Doug. How are you today?
Doing great. How are you doing?
Very good. And I'm really happy that we got to talk with you. We talked to Paul Colacchio before, and evidently you are the first patient of RadNet that's been interviewed here. So I love it in regards to, of course, the Tulsa procedure. But before we really get talking about the procedure and diagnosis, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm 69 years old. When I had the procedure, it was a few months ago, I was 68. I'm an executive at a outdoor furniture business, and I was diagnosed with first stage prostate cancer earlier at the end of last year.
The end of last year.
Yeah.
Would you say you're a pretty active person?
Yes, very active.
Okay.
I exercise regularly and
Okay.
travel and
Okay.
do.
And you know, I ask that because I think a lot of people think, oh, it's not going to happen to me, right? I mean, we're very active. We do lots of things. We watch our, food intake and all these other things. Yet you can still be diagnosed with something like this. So that's why I wanted to know what your background was. And you said you were diagnosed late last year.
Yes.
How did you feel when it's stage 1? So thank goodness it was caught at that particular time.
Right. Yeah, I didn't feel anything. It was just the concern about my PSA level fluctuating in a way that my GP didn't like. So he sent me to a urologist who kind of looked after me for a couple months and decided that we should do a prostate MRI, which I did. And that showed that I had a couple small spots. And then they did a biopsy on those. And that's when it became apparent that it was malignant.
Wow.
Yeah.
Was it shocking to you?
Well, not 100% because I have a family history of prostate cancer.
Okay.
So I watch, I've been monitoring my PSA levels for quite a while. And so it wasn't an utter shock.
So when you found out, and then obviously there were next steps that you went through in deciding on whether or not to go through with the procedures and things like that, how did that process go?
Well, my urologist told me, the different options. One was to have the prostate removed. And then the other would be to just kind of monitor it and watch it over time. And then he mentioned to me that there's a relatively new procedure called the Tulsa procedure, which in my case could just pinpoint the exact spots, and they call it ablation. And it's called transurethral ablation. So they go in and they ablate or burn the spots away.
Right.
And I was very happy to hear that it could be a partial ablation, that they didn't have to ablate the entire prostate gland.
Okay.
Which was also an option. But in my case, they recommended just the partial ablation and then to watch it. So I was very pleased to know that there was a less invasive alternative.
And then you were out for that procedure?
Yes, you're put under anesthesia for the procedure.
Okay. And then what was your recovery like?
It was very fast. It was an outpatient procedure. I went home the same day. I had to wear a catheter for approximately 10 days, which wasn't that bad. And then I went back to the urologist. They took out the catheter, and that was the end. Now they just monitor my PSA level, and then a year from the procedure, I'll have another MRI.
Okay.
And then they'll see that how everything's looking. But normally the prognosis is very good with this procedure. They don't see recurrence, especially when you catch it in the early stages. So that's what I'm hoping for.
Exactly. Now, you mentioned you were probably laid up for about 10 days because you had the catheter. So immediately after the catheter was removed, were you able to resume all of your normal activities?
Actually, I wasn't laid up at all because with the catheter, you can walk around and they give you the kind that you can be mobile with. So I just was back to work the next day.
Wow.
Yeah, there was no recovery at all.
Wow.
Yeah,
No,
I just
isn't
had to
it-
take some pills.
Right. Isn't it great though? I mean, I think technology has really made so many strides, and we're certainly benefiting from that right now with, especially since you were diagnosed at an early stage, which I know the Tulsa you can only use, I believe, at early stages. You can't use it once you're past a certain stage. So thank goodness you guys caught
Yeah.
it. You were obviously aware that you had it in your family. So, good for you and your doctor to be able to get to it right away.
Exactly.
That
Yeah.
is awesome. So now, would you recommend other people look into this if they're also in the same situation?
Oh, absolutely, because it's the least invasive procedure you can have.
Mhm.
And as opposed to surgery, which is the removal of the gland, and then that has all kinds of side effects. When you have this procedure, you can resume a normal sex life. You don't have urinary issues that often happen after surgery.
Mhm.
So I would highly recommend it.
That is awesome. Well, congratulations to you.
Thank
And
you.
good luck on the rest of the year until next year. We're hoping that it still maintains a negative aspect.
I agree. Thank you very much.
All right, Doug, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me.
All right. And if you want more information about the TOSA procedure or any of the procedures or treatments that RadNet has, you can always go to radnet.com. We'll be right back.